Welcome in to Knicks Mail.bag, presented by the Strickland and by all of you on Patreon and by our good friends at Bet Online and Believe, which we'll get to in just a moment. But first, I'm Alex Wolf. I'm editor and chief of the Strickland. I also host Locked On Knicks, which you might know. And I am joined by just one co-host today. My other one had to go do a work emergency or something. I don't know. I don't know what happened. I think he works. Does Zach work in IT?
He's like the chief IT person at his company. Yeah.
Yes, probably
So
someone
there
tried
was
to.
the tubes. The
Yeah,
tubes. They had problems with the tubes. That's how the
well,
internet works, right? It's just all tubes.
yeah. Someone tried to go on PornTube and it
Porn
screwed
tube.
everything up. And Zach had to take tonight off apparently. But
Yeah.
I am joined by Matt Weiss, who you might know as Warm Perm, or maybe Matt Weiss, or perhaps something else. I don't know.
Wampirm, my actual Twitter handle, perhaps
Wampirm.
that one. Yeah.
Wampirm. Yeah, perhaps. How you doing, Matt?
Okay. It kind of. I'm gonna make this joke anyway, but it kind of, since we made those comments about Zach, the timing's off. But I've never heard of Black Hot Knicks.
Oh, well, good to know. I mean, you and everyone else. Anyway,
No, I've heard of Black Hot Knicks.
have you? Oh, that's
I
good.
do. I do listen. Honestly, I listen occasionally, and I'll tell you that I listen to it more often than I listen to Pod Strickland. So sorry, Schwinn.
Let's cut that. No, I'm just kidding. We're gonna leave that. I'm gonna stroke my own ego.
Yeah, don't you want to stroke your ego? Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, all right, real quick before we get into all the lovely questions from all of you. Of course, we took questions from our Strickland Discord, which I'll tell you how you could potentially get into in just a moment. I'll let you all know that this episode is brought to you by Bet Online, and Bet Online continues to be your number one source for all your basketball wagering needs, including pro and college hoops throughout the year. With up-to-the-minute odds, stats, and trends, you can follow your favorite team's path to the playoffs with in-game live betting contests and all the best player props. Experience the world's best wagering platform anytime from your desktop or your mobile devices. So head to Bet Online today to become part of the team, and remember to use promo code BELIEVE for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, the game starts here. And if some of you are listening or watching this, listening to or watching this, and are not already part of our Patreon and thus our Discord, let me give you the quick pitch on that. Because if you're hearing these questions, you're like, wait a minute, I want to ask questions. Well, there's only one way to do that. That's becoming a Strickland
Give us
Patreon supporter.
$100 a day.
$100 a day. That's how much you got to pay.
Sorry,
Just
that's
kidding.
how it works. Everyone on the Discord pays us $100 a day. That's true. Don't ask anybody, but it is true.
That's what happens. No, but really though, what is it? What are those ads where they're always like, for a cup of coffee a day, you
Oh
could
yeah.
support blah blah blah. You could
I
you
mean,
could
it's
plant a
a cup
tree
of coffee
somewhere.
a month.
Yeah, we have for a cup of coffee a month. You could be a part of the best Knicks centric Discord in the world, and I'm going to go so far as say the best Knicks community in the whole world.
That's
So for
beautiful.
$6, is that accurate?
I said it's beautiful.
Beautiful. Yes, good.
No.
All right, stop interrupting my
Sorry.
ad copy now.
I know. It's just me tonight, so I'm kind of feeling a little frisky.
Feeling a little antsy. I know.
Yeah.
I understand. We're going to get to questions in a second, but real quick, if you're not a member of the Patreon already, make sure to do so for $6 a month. One Starbucks Frappuccino, not even Starbucks Frappuccino is more than $6. For like a regular Starbucks coffee with oat milk, you can get access to the full edition of Friday Pod Strickland. You can get access to the Strickland Discord, which is the best Knicks community on the planet. You get full access to Takes from Obvious Bozos, our sister show, which is sort of like the mailbag, but where you submit takes that then Drew and Zach judge and tell you you're a bozo or not a bozo sometimes, or maybe somewhere in between. And so that's a lot of fun. And then for $9 a month, you can move up to a point where you get Schwinn's solo podcast, which is called Stricken Roll. And so you could get that, as well as written pieces, typically from Matthew Miranda, but sometimes from our stable of other talented writers, delivered right into your inbox and right onto your Patreon account through Patreon, and a bunch of other stuff. I think that's where you start getting merch discounts as well. If you decide to get some merch from the strickland.bigcartel.com or just the strict.land, click the merch tab. And then beyond that, there's tiers that go anywhere from 15, 30, 50, whatever. Many different dollar amounts if you really want to support us. And from those points, you could potentially co-host an episode of Pod Strickland on some of those. There's all kinds of other fun things that you can do with those higher tiers. So check them out, patreon.com/Strickland, and consider supporting us if you like Knicks content and you want to support people that you like. It's always good to throw a couple dollars around rather than give a couple more dollars to Starbucks. They don't need it. We need it though. We're poor. Anyway, moving on, Matt, we have our questions. We have a bunch of mailbag questions, and the first one actually came to us before we asked for questions this time. This was about 2 weeks ago when we last recorded, but our buddy ZMP323 out of the Discord had a really good question that I still think is relevant now because it was asked pretty shortly before the All-Star break anyway, and right after the trade deadline. So I think this is still very relevant. ZMP323 wants to know, what do you think about how building a roster inspired by Tibbs's tendencies and philosophies ended up vaulting this team to the closest they've been to contending in years? The Knicks have been great for the past season and a half, but does that convince you that this team could win a title with him as coach despite his known faults? I think this is a really good question. I'll let you start answering
it. So I guess let me go backwards. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, it's less so than in other sports, but still in the NBA, every playoffs are a crapshoot. Again, I think it is probably, I don't watch enough hockey to compare, but I'm just talking like baseball, football, basketball. I think the NBA playoffs are the least crapshooty, but once you're in, you're in. So yeah, the Knicks could win a title because like shit could break perfectly for them to do it, and they just do it. Do I think like they're the best team in the Eastern Conference or even the second best? At full strength, they might be the second best team, but they're definitely not the best. They're not better than the Celtics. But nonetheless, like, I think, I mean, I know that the roster has been like built the way Tibbs wants it, but they've really just acquired good players. Like, that's what it comes down to. It's not, people think of it as like, oh, you know, Tibbs didn't like RJ and he thought quickly was undersized, so he needed a big, you know, a guy who could, like OG, who could guard bigger forwards, which is just true. The Knicks did need that. Like, I think it's been obvious since the trade, they, more than people are willing to admit, that as much as we love quickly, like, for what they needed, given they had Brunson and they had DiVincenzo and they have Hart and they have Randall and they have, at the time they had Grimes, obviously they don't anymore, but, you know, given how the team was made up around quickly, like, OG is a much better fit with the team than quickly is. And so I think, like, when people think like, oh, they got OG because like that's the perfect Tibbs guy, and they got Precious because that's the perfect Tibbs guy, and like Burks and I mean, I don't think anyone thinks Bogdanovich is really a perfect Tibbs guy, but like Burks, Tibbs loves Burks. But like, again, they just acquire good players for like very reasonable prices this season, and they've been doing that for years. It really comes down to that Leon Rose is a really good executive. He's very good at his job. He knows how to get the players I need for a reasonable price, so he can build the roster. He built the roster very methodically. He didn't really overpay for anyone, and when he made a mistake, he was able to pivot off of it without mortgaging the future. And now where they are is they're one of the best teams in the NBA when they're healthy. I mean, they've had like this ridiculous spate of unlucky injuries, but like, I think Tibbs is a good coach. And I mean, is he the best coach? No, but he has obvious faults. But I think you can see, like, really a lot of the complaints we had about him in the past was not that the roster didn't fit his tendencies, but that the roster just was not good enough. RJ has looked a lot better with the Raptors, but like, it wasn't working here because he's not a fit with Brunson and Randall. Again, quickly, like, awesome coming off the bench, but they needed somebody to guard bigger players than he could guard, and then Grimes could guard, and then Josh could, and then Josh Hart could guard. And you have to give to get. So like, yeah, they gave up quickly, but they got a better asset ultimately for what they needed for their team. And same thing with Grimes. Like, Grimes, it's a bummer. He looked so good last year, but like, it was half a season. And this year he, for whatever reason, like, straight up sucked. And I think his defense wasn't as good. He wasn't aggressive on offense. Like, wasn't aggressive on offense is like an understatement, obviously. Like, he was timid on offense in a very weird way. Even coming off the bench. He had like that one game when he first came off the bench where it was like, oh, okay, now that he's away from the starters, he's going to be more aggressive. But then it just went away. And so, again, they gave up like a little bit of an asset in Grimes, but they got Bogdanovich, who no one expected them to be able to get. And they got Burks, who, not ideal, but he's like a solid player. He's probably going to play like 10 minutes a game in the playoffs. It's not going to really be that big a deal. So I think it's more on what Leon Rose has done than what Tibbs has done. But, Tibbs can coach a good roster because he's like a solid NBA coach. And so he's been doing that.
Yeah, I think I'm with you too. Everybody keeps being like, they just got Tibbs players. And I'm like, I don't think they did. I think maybe you could rightly say that like maybe Quickly wasn't utilized well enough with the Knicks, and he's been showing a lot of what a lot of Knicks fans thought that he could be as a starting point guard and whatever, like on the Raptors, but he was just never going to be a starting point guard here. And maybe he could have been the starting shooting guard, which I certainly was campaigning for earlier this year. But like, again, you get a guy in OG that, again, it's like what you said, you got to give to get. And the reality is they didn't give up any first round picks to get him. And they used Quickly to get a guy that transformed them into a 14 or 15-2 team in 17 games, like from the start of the year. I mean, it's just insane.
And it wasn't fluky. Like they were dominating teams.
Yeah, it wasn't like they were just like sneaking by anybody. And it's not like it was all bad teams. Like good team, bad team, didn't matter. Knicks were blowing you out by 20 any given night with OG on the floor. And like to say that he's a Tibbs guy is also BS, because there's like not a team in the NBA that you would show OG Anunoby to and be like, do you want this guy on your team? No.
Teams always want 3-and-D guys, and he's like the epitome of that.
He is the 3-and-D guy.
Yeah, right. There's nobody better.
Because like he's not Kawhi Leonard, like he's not like a superstar, like a super duper star like that.
Kawhi's not a 3-and-D guy. He's a superstar.
But he was once upon a time, you know what I mean? And there was like the outline of a superstar back then when he was doing basically what OG is doing now. And like I don't think that outline is there with OG, but that's fine. Like it doesn't matter. Like he's a 25-year-old dude that's like, I think he's 25, maybe 26.
I think he's 26, but it doesn't matter.
Either way, in his prime, dude, like beginning of his true prime, and is as good of a defensive player as you could possibly ask for. Like, gonna be a defensive player of the year candidate probably next year, as long as he stays healthy.
Unfortunately, not this year.
Yeah, but I think next year, if he can stay healthy, he'll be a defensive player of the year candidate for sure, especially on this team with this coach and the role that he's going to be cast in. Like, he's going to get some votes on that next year. And if you get that sort of player and you have to go Quickly and RJ, who I don't regret giving up at all at this point, because he was more theoretical than actualized. And that was kind of always, unfortunately, the case with him. Like, you do that. And so all that comes back to say, like, I'm not like having any weird like grapplings with this of like, oh, well, this team is like competing, but and like maybe could be a dark horse title team this year, or dark horse ECF team this year, whatever. But like, I don't know that would necessarily be because of Tibbs or because they gave Tibbs, quote unquote, Tibbs players. They just gave Tibbs good players to work with. And it's like you said, that's just the byproduct of it. Like, good players win games, and they gave him good players, and he's managed to make it work. And they did play to his sensibilities in some sense of giving him all like veterans, which I guess is good, but they're not all like
really have an old team though. It's older than it was, but it's not old.
The only move that they made to get like a little more like ancient was getting Burks and Bogdanovich.
Yeah.
But like OG and Precious are both young as hell. And like Precious was another one that's like, sure, he's like a Tibbs guy, but not really. Like Tibbs doesn't typically love smaller centers like that. He just likes guys that can rebound.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. I think they've just acquired talent, and that's it.
Yeah.
And that's all it's ever going to
be. What's that tweet? I prefer talent.
Yeah, actually, I prefer talent.
Yeah.
I forget who actually said that.
I don't remember either. It was a while ago.
Yeah.
The only thing
that was Nets Daily, I think. Wasn't that?
It was
that Nets Daily Classic.
That didn't come our resident old man of basketball Twitter.
Yeah.
Anyway, just one thing, and then we can move on. Is like you made the point about like, would you like to see Quickly as this team starting shooting guard? Like, yeah, but I mean, would he even be better than DiVincenzo? Like, I don't know.
I mean, at that point, Devo hadn't like exploded yet.
I know, but like in hindsight, like, do we really?
At that particular moment in time before the trade, I would have made Quickly the starter.
No, yeah, I know, but what I'm saying is like, looking back now, knowing what we know about how DiVincenzo has
then
exploded.
then I wouldn't now. Like, he
Yeah.
would have lost his job by now to
Right. Yeah.
DiVincenzo. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but DiVincenzo maybe never got that chance then. Like, who's
Yeah.
to
I
I
mean,
don't
right.
really know.
Who knows? But I'm
I don't
just
really know.
saying, like, I think it worked out pretty well considering, like, not only is OG here, but also you have DiVincenzo who, like, is not obviously won't need to score 30 points a game in the playoffs. But the fact is, like, Brunson's going to be wide fucking open because they're going to be terrified of DiVincenzo.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I think things are broken great. I think the biggest thing too to consider is just that they made a lot of these moves with the eye on potentially making a big star trade this summer, and they've
Yeah.
got big chunks of salary to make that happen. They turned
Mhm.
Fournier and
I'm
Grimes
glad they
into
finally traded Fournier. I mean, it was
yeah, good for him. I mean,
yeah.
I don't really care. He was the most like okay, maybe this is a hot take, but every like reporter was like, "What a class act!" Blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, he was a class act as long as he thought you couldn't understand what he was saying, or like until he thought you couldn't understand what he was saying and wouldn't be able to Google French media.
Yeah.
Like he was like aggressive as hell in like the French media, being like, "I hate it there. They don't play
I'm
me.
not
I've
even
been
saying like
wronged."
it was time to trade him to like, make him feel better. It's more like just I was sick of like waiting for them to trade him.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Because yeah, it was time to move off him. I mean, that's like probably the I wouldn't even call it the one bad thing that Leon Rose has done because ultimately they traded him and
It
got
hasn't handicapped them at all. And in fact,
right.
like it worked out fine because they have Bogdanovich, who's a useful player, and probably will just be traded for someone better in the summer.
Mhm.
So
Most likely. So
yeah.
we'll see. I mean, it'll be like the new Kristaps Porzingis trade tree, the Evan
Yeah.
Fournier
And
signing
Fournier
tree.
trade three, yeah.
What all it led to. But anyway, let's move to our next question here, and this one's topical. This comes from our own Zach, Zach Blatter, I should say, baby Zach, not
Too many Zachs.
not
There's Zach
Wackery.
20, Zach Blatter, and then Wackery. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of Zachs up in here. But so younger Zach, Zach the younger, wants to know what is the one thing you would do to fix All Star Weekend. So I'll just drop mine first because Gavin and I came up with this on Locked on Knicks, and I want to just give it another boost here.
All right.
So Gavin said one-on-one tournament, and I was like, maybe, but I don't know for sure if players would be super into it. So then I was trying to brainstorm how to be like, because then Gavin was like, just get some like benefactor, some sponsor, whatever, to put a ton of money on the line. So that way the players are playing for something.
Yeah.
Which after today's news, which came out, which was like I forget who had this report, but it's like players were like pushing to potentially get paid for participating in the All-Star game, which I'm like, come on, man. Like you make $35 million a year or whatever, and you need like an extra game check for playing in the All-Star game where you're
I
just
mean, I get like it doesn't matter since they don't try on defense, so they're not really
yeah,
at risk of getting hurt. But like if you do the one-on-one tournament, honestly, here's the thing about that: if you do the one-on-one tournament and you have money on the line, so they all try. If Jalen Brunson tore his ACL in the one-on-one tournament, we would be like wanting to murder Adam Silver.
I guess. Yeah. I mean, so here's my thought about the one-on-one tournaments. This is my way to get the players invested and sort of make it work, hopefully. So part of the reason I think that the star players don't like being in the dunk contest anymore is because they're afraid of like getting clowned and like
Like
losing to
like Jalen Brown did.
like Jalen Brown did.
Yeah.
Except for maybe Jalen Brown could have just actually had good dunks and then he wouldn't have
Yeah.
gotten
Right.
clowned. But
Or
whatever.
not like completely whiffed on, on that one.
Exactly. Like that's neither here nor there. But either way, like it's like a star player doesn't want to lose to like a role player
Yeah.
in the dunk contest because they're all too prideful and everybody's too concerned with like their social media presence
Right.
and whatever now. So you do a one-on-one tournament, you restrict it to all-stars only. So that way, if you lose to a fellow all-star, like that's not embarrassing. You just lost to another one of the, I don't know, 24 best players in
Yeah.
the league, right? And then the way they do it silent auction style, sort of. That's the best term I can come up with to say it. But everybody puts in an amount of money that they would be willing to donate to charity into a grand pot. And then if that person, like whoever wins the whole thing, gets to decide where the whole pot goes for charity. So then you get players that maybe would put up like $1 million to be like,
Mhm.
I for sure want to participate in the one-on-one tournament, and like I'm down to do it. I'll put up $1 million that I can win this thing, and then take everybody else's money and go donate it to my charity of choice and not their charity of choice, you know,
Right.
whatever. And you do that, top 8 people in this like silent auction. So they all place their bids in. Top 8 people get to be in the tournament, seeded one, or well, actually, then I guess, okay, I'd initially said seeded 1 to 8 based off the money, but make it even better. Be like number 1 gets to pick their opponent, number 2 gets to pick the next
Yeah.
person, number 3 gets
3
to
and
pick,
then 4. Yeah.
and then 4 and 5 get matched up automatically.
Yeah.
Or 4 and whoever
Whoever's
is
left.
left.
Yeah.
Yes. So do that, and then you just run through a tournament bracket style and do it like games to 11. It could be as lighthearted as you want, but guys will D each other up a little bit. But I think the risk for injury goes down because most injuries occur, I feel like, during hustle plays anyway. Like it's not just like one-on-one defense. Guys aren't
Yeah,
like
you're right.
getting crossed up and then tearing their ACL. It's usually like running after a loose ball, you know, or like step on someone's foot, you know, in a crowded paint kind of thing.
Yeah.
Leads to a bad fall, charge, attempt, whatever. So it would probably all be good fun. And then you get something cool, new, exciting. Can even just ditch the dunk contest for a little bit, maybe try to reboot it in a few years, but be like, no dunk contest for a couple years. We got to figure some stuff out with that. Do the 1v1 tournament and just see how it goes. I don't know. I think it would be cool. I also think that when these guys were more charity motivated, or at least on the surface were, when they were doing like the Elam ending and they were doing this, the after every quarter, you know, whatever side wins, their charity gets money, whatever. That made the All-Star game more exciting. So in a 1v1 setting where it's just like mano y mano, like I feel like that would also just make the stakes up really high, but also keep the injury risk low enough that like guys would be willing to do it. And also like if it's all stars anyway, there's no chance of getting embarrassed. So I don't know. That's my idea to fix it.
The only thing I had was get rid of the All-Star game.
I guess you could just do that. I mean, that's the nuclear option, right?
I mean, like, I didn't watch it last night. I watched the Saturday night stuff. I mean, not like intently. It was on in the background. I missed the All-Star game last night and like couldn't have cared less. Like you know, even if I was home, I don't think I would have watched it. It's just like you could do the Saturday night shit and like just name people All-Stars and like fucking they get there, have them like all come to Indiana and do like a fucking, you know, they get to do like events with fans and shit. I don't know. Like it's just so stupid. Everyone whines about it every year. I don't know. It's such a waste of time.
Is there a variation other than like 1v1? Like would it maybe be like 3-on-3 or something? Like a little 3-on-3 tournament?
I just am so worried about like asking them to try hard and somebody getting injured.
Yeah.
On the Knicks.
I guess, yeah, specifically the Knicks. If
Yeah.
it's anyone else, who cares? But
I mean, obviously I feel bad for them, but like I don't give a shit if Jaylen Brown gets injured, but I do care like if Jalen Brunson gets injured. Like I just don't want to. I don't want to ask Jalen Brunson or Julius Randle to try harder in the All-Star game.
You know, I was actually talking to my one coworker about it today. This is another idea that I had, and I've thought about this for a while. What if they did what the MLB does and they put home court advantage in the finals on the line?
Yeah, but again, I don't want, like, the thing is, people are so much less likely to get hurt in the MLB All-Star game because you're just like it's just not like people get hurt in baseball all the time, but it's not. And like obviously shit can happen. And when Diaz, we know what happened to him just celebrating a win in the World Baseball Classic. But like,
yeah, but I mean that could happen anytime. Like I
well,
just
that's what I'm saying. So like I don't know.
I think if you put home court advantage on the line, guys would try just hard enough. Like,
I also don't. Everyone hates home court advantage being on the line for the baseball All-Star game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess the other thing is like the league just dumped all this prize money and everything else into the in-season tournament and all this promotion and everything else, and yet it seemed like they just took like 10 huge steps back with the All-Star game this year.
Honestly, that's what they should do. In-season tournament finals, All-Star weekend, just forget the All-Star game. Because the finals are an 83rd game for those two teams. Just put it in February.
I guess, but like, why do we care that much? Like, how is the in-season tournament any less like worrisome than the All-Star game?
Well, they're doing it already anyway. So like if they're still going to do that, then at least most of those games count. I think they could also just like fold the finals into the 82 game season too, and just have everyone else, you know, get an extra game, like work it out just like they did for the semifinals, like with a schedule where everyone else just gets a game.
That was definitely the stupidest part of the in-season tournament to me this year, where it was like, congrats, your reward is competing in an extra game for barely a game check. Like,
right. I mean, that's what I'm saying. They need to fold the finals into the 82 game tournament.
Yeah.
If they're going to keep doing it. because like the semifinals was one of the Knicks games. And so, or not the quarterfinals, wherever the fuck they were in.
They played the quarterfinal and then they got assigned
that other
game.
The stupid Celtics again in their extra game, but which obviously they need to fix that next year, and I'm sure they will fix that so the Knicks don't have to play the Celtics and Bucks so many times. But
no, they'll just keep making the Knicks run the gauntlet because they hate them.
But I think if you fold in the championship game to the 82 game season like every other game is, it would be not a big deal. And then just do it just do that on All-Star, do the championship game on All-Star Sunday, and everyone else, plays their extra game on Thursday, and the teams that played in the championship don't start till Friday.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm still not sold on the in-season tournament to begin with.
So. I mean, I liked it just because it was because the Knicks were winning, but I wouldn't have cared if they weren't in it, obviously.
The only thing that was fun with the in-season tournament was running up the scores for a few games and having that be.
Although Tibbs didn't do it.
No, they did a little bit. They did it when they needed to.
He was he took out his guys at the normal time he would. Everyone was like, "Oh, Tibbs it was a perfect excuse for Tibbs to never take out guys in a blowout," and then he fucking did it anyway.
Well, I think once they realized that they were safe enough because they were already up 30 on Charlotte or whatever, and they only need to be up by 15, and so they were like, "Okay, I think we're good." Or was it? Yeah, it was Charlotte was that final game in Washington because they fucking waxed Washington too. But either way, I don't know. I don't know if it's the in-season
anyway,
tournament.
I just want to get rid of the All-Star game. That's my end.
I love the All-Star game. I want it to succeed because it was always one of my favorite things.
When I was a child, I enjoyed it. I love the MLB All-Star game as a child too, but I don't care about it anymore.
I actually tell me if this would be wild. Get rid of the 3-point line during the All-Star game. No more 3-pointers, just alley-oops all day.
No, add a 4-point line.
Only a 4-point line.
Yeah.
4-point line or
4-point line, 5 feet back from where the 3-point line is. Get rid of the 3-point line.
Yeah.
And just see how see them try to take fours or just go for alley-oops all day.
I think that would be pretty fun.
That would be fun. I would like that. If they did a 4-point line, that would be fun.
We just did it. We fixed it. Yeah. We brainstormed this out. Let's not ruin this moment by adding any other.
And I don't the thing is, I don't everyone whines about the lack of defense. What are you fucking expecting? They're not going to play defense.
I just wish that if there was not going to be a lot of defense, that they would do something more entertaining than just take warm-up threes all game.
Well, that's why I'm saying I think if they did it honestly, I think if they did you have to watch Steph try to take it from 35 feet to try to make a 4.
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever.
Just have only 4s, and then it'll be okay, if it's not that, then they're just going to go for a dunk. Right. And then maybe guys just start contesting all the way out to the 4-point line, which opens up the paint and lets guys just get poster dunks all game. That would be fun. Yeah. All right, let's move to our next question. So this comes from Zan Rosen, who wants to know, is Donte's offensive explosion real? I think yes.
He has a paired question. I think it's related to the next question.
Oh yeah, I guess they do kind of go together. If it is, does that change your outlook on the Knicks' contention chances? I guess it would be to what extent? What do you think the mean is for him if he regresses to it at this point?
I mean, it's hard to say because he's going to have a different role when the team is healthy again.
Will he?
Yeah, once Randall's back, he's not going to be taking as many shots.
I mean, he won't have to take that many shots, but if he can keep up the efficiency and be...
No, yeah, but what I'm saying is, I don't see any... My point is, he'll be easier to keep up the efficiency because he won't have as much offensive load. So I think this is just how it's going to be. I mean, he's going to be a 40% three-point shooter and maybe a little bit higher. And it does change our contention chances. I kind of hit on this in the first question when we were answering Zach's question. But if teams have to guard Donte very tight because they know he can't they got to keep the ball away from him, that opens shit up for Jalen, and Julius, because who do you double team? If they just park OG in the corner, who are you double teaming? You can't leave OG open because he's going to make every fucking shot from the corner. Can't leave Randall open unless you want him to just dunk not dunk because he doesn't dunk like a weirdo, but just easily score every time down the floor. Yeah, I don't know why I couldn't think of that word.
Playing surface.
Yeah, where the Knicks play. You can't leave Brunson open. They would never do that. And if you can't leave DiVincenzo open, what are you going to leave Hartenstein open?
Yeah.
Like
which you
you
can.
can't double anyone on the Knicks if so. Yeah, before, like, what you do is you choose between OG and Donte, and like just say, but let's make one of these guys beat us. They might, but like we can live with that. But now you can't let Donte DiVincenzo beat you because he will. You know he will. So you're gonna just let OG Anunoby take 7 threes from the corner and like the Knicks go up by 15 immediately because he's just gonna make everything.
I mean, it's kind of exactly what we were seeing before everybody got hurt. And of course, like the giant explosion of Donte happened during that. But I likened him, and like some people were like, he's better than him. And I'm like, I'm not saying he's not, but like I likened it to like when he was being counted on as like a true number 2 option with all the injuries. It reminded me a lot of like when Tim Hardaway Jr. was the number 2 option for the Knicks, or even the number 1 option at times, where you're just like, you're good. I don't necessarily know that I want you in this role all the time, but I understand you could score like 30 even with your limitations. But in an ideal world, you're like the number 4 option here. And you're just
and
really,
he will
really
be
good at that.
Yeah. Well, he'll probably be number 3. I don't think Anunoby's gonna be the number 3 option, but
I think it depends on the night. But like Anunoby can be the number 3 option. And
but he really, you don't want him driving to the hoop that much. Like he can cut, and then he has those crazy dunks on cuts, but like you don't want the ball in his hands driving to the hoop.
I would argue that if you can give him a straight line drive, you do. Like that was part of what we were starting to really see from him that worked. Like if they gave him the ball already moving like a running back, like around on the perimeter, where he would come from the corner, come up, take a dribble handoff from like Hardenstein or whatever, and get going with a head of steam, but like still handling the ball. Like I liked him a lot in that scenario.
Okay,
so I hope
that's fair. I just still think like DiVincenzo, you'd prefer him creating.
Yeah, I mean, if you ultimately think it might end up in a 3 or something, or him passing it off, I think I like DiVincenzo better. But if it comes to like finishing and he has a clear lane to the hoop, I think I like OG better. That said, they're both awesome, so it doesn't really matter who's what option any given night. But I mean, as far as just to say, I mean, I feel like we've already talked about the ceiling thing a little bit. What does this make their ceiling? I mean, they're a 10 deep team, 11, 12 possibly if you count Juice and Sims. Like
they're gonna have at least two guys not playing in the playoffs who would be playing on other playoff rosters. Not just like guys who would be playing on other teams. They'd be playing on other playoff rosters.
And reality, they're probably going to pare it down to like mostly like an 8 to 9 man rotation.
Well, that's what I'm saying. At least 2, but probably even 3. Like,
probably even like 3. Like maybe.
Although I don't know who the third guy that doesn't play is going to be.
It might be Burks at this point.
Well, I think Burks going to play. You need somebody to back up Brunson.
Sort of, yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Brunson has to sit. I think Burks might just play like 8 minutes, but Brunson's got to sit occasionally.
And I mean, maybe that would be effectively going down to like an 8 man.
Yeah, I think it'd be 8. Like I think the rotation in the playoffs will be obviously the 5 starters, and then assuming Mitch is back, Mitch, Hart, and Bogdanovich, with Burks playing just 4 minutes in each half, just that Brunson can sit for a few minutes. I think that's like it's basically like an 8.5 man rotation.
Yeah, I could see that happening. And then Precious, unfortunately, would be
Precious and Deuce just aren't going to play, which is like, dude, they've both been really good, but they're just not going to play. How do you play them?
Yeah, no Deuce, no Precious, no Sims, who's actually been.
Oh yeah, no Sims either. Who's been good, but like maybe if he hadn't gotten sick, he would have been a little more useful.
Had more of a chance.
Yeah,
but anyway, yeah. So basically, I mean, they're going to be really deep. It's just going to be a matter of like if other teams get injured, the Knicks have the depth now. I mean, we just saw like there is a limit to how many players they can have injured before the wheels start coming out.
But if they have 6 players injured in the playoffs, they're obviously not going to go anywhere.
They're done anyway. Yeah. So like,
no
but
team
if some other team has
rotation being injured.
Yeah, but like if the Knicks have 2 players injured and some other team has 2 players injured, the Knicks have more depth to absorb.
I do think it matters which like.
Oh, obviously.
I don't think they can be without as much as Randall has sucked in the playoffs. Like they can't be without Randall in the playoffs.
No, they need what he brings. Yeah, especially like healthy. Like that's
so
the main thing.
Yeah, they can be without either Mitch or Hartenstein and Burks or McBride. They could probably be without Hart, but or Bogdanovich, obviously. But like you really can't be without Randall and Brunson and Donte have to be healthy. You probably need OG. They could maybe get away with it without OG, but like it'd be a lot tougher to win without him in the playoffs.
Yep. All right, let's move to our next question. This comes from Jax365, who wants to know how much of a loser is Kenny Smith? The answer: a huge loser. Did you see his all of his shit?
I saw some like tweets about it. I mean,
Yeah.
whatever. I don't care. I just don't care.
I said this on Locked On Knicks, but he essentially for like 3 straight minutes after the Sabrina and Steph thing turned into like every child on Twitter that like 3-4 years ago would respond to any woman and just say
Yeah.
like kitchen, like get back in the kitchen,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
literally just did that.
Man, that was a thing that happened. Thank God that stopped. That was
Thank
so
God that
fucking weird.
stopped. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he fucking he just like did that. He was a huge loser just for that. But then on
Yeah.
top of that, he also
I did see. I was watching
yeah,
that, so I did see that.
the show's
But
wild. So like look, I'm not gonna lie, like, Sabrina Ionescu, like I knew of her. I'm not like I personally take a break from basketball in the NBA offseason because like I have to cover it all season long and I just
yeah.
want a little time to not watch basketball, honestly. And so I don't really follow the WNBA much, but I watched that and I was like, damn, like she just matched all of the other players.
Right. I
She
mean,
just didn't beat the
like
greatest shooter of all time. Like
Steph beat her, but he's Steph Curry. Like that's not
he's
really a
fucking Steph
fair.
Curry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So I was like,
he barely beat her.
yeah, by like 3 points, and it took him
Yeah,
to
like
his
he
money
needed
rack.
his last ball. No, he needed two. He got second last ball. He beat her second last ball.
Yeah,
But
he
yeah,
needed his money rack though.
it's not
Like,
like right. It's not like and he had to make. I think he made 4 of his 5 money rack. Oh, he only
mhm,
need that last one, but he had to make 4 of his 5 money rack balls. Like it
yep.
wasn't like he was cruising to victory.
No, exactly.
And
Yeah,
people,
so
and it's like, oh, she's using a. Why would you're going to give her an NBA ball which she's never played with before? That'd be
yeah,
ridiculous. Why would you do that?
and it's like, who cares? She's shooting from range. Like, the
Right?
one
Yeah,
undeniable thing is, like, yes, her hands probably are
they're
considerably
smaller.
smaller
Yeah,
than a man's hands,
yeah.
but, like, so she's used to shooting that ball, but if she's shooting it from the same distance, who gives a shit?
And also,
Like,
like, it's not. I guarantee that Steph Curry's not sitting there thinking, "Oh, she's using a smaller ball. This is bullshit." Like he,
no, Steph is probably like, "God damn, like, I was kinda sweating a little bit, like,
yeah.
I had to
And
really
he
bring my A
also
game."
give him that ball. He's not used to shooting the WNBA ball. I guarantee she would have won if they both had used
He'd
it.
probably airmail a bunch of them and
Yeah,
shoot it too
yeah.
far because he's
So it's
very
just
used to a
like, what's the
specifically
difference?
weighted
Yeah,
NBA ball. Yeah.
yeah,
And honestly, even if you had him shoot from the WNBA three-point line, he might not be as good because
yeah.
he's
It's a
keyed
weird
into
spot.
shooting
Yeah,
NBA threes all the time.
that's a long two, and like he's not taking a bunch of long twos.
That's not a shot that he practices
Right.
anymore,
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's just I don't know. It was incredibly impressive, and Kenny Smith just kinda went out of his way to be like, I'm still stuck in, 1992, so I'm gonna
Right.
try to,
Right.
to fucking destroy this accomplishment."
Yeah.
But then on top of that was also just a fucking loser during the dunk contest, and
Well, yeah. I mean, whatever. I was barely listening during the dunk contest too, and I know we didn't get asked about it, but here, like a reason that to go back to like, oh well, we did get a question about the dunk contest. Oh wait, we have one from later, so I won't
okay.
say. It.
All right, well let's
Let's just
keep
move
moving
on.
on anyway. But yeah, Kenny Smith, huge loser, doesn't deserve this much airtime. So we'll just keep moving from him. But yeah, he sucks. Another question from Jax365. It was great to see Jalen Brunson pass the Taylor Rooks interview test. How composed is he? I didn't watch this interview.
I didn't either, but I saw that like everyone was saying on Twitter that he didn't say anything ridiculous. Like
Okay. And didn't like
what was it? Jalen Brown did, right? Like he
yeah.
said something insane, or was it Tatum? Which one of them was it?
I don't know. One of
It
those
was
two
one of the
fucking
Celtics.
idiots.
Said
Yeah.
something insane, and then there was that time that was it Grant Williams was on there and was like trying to hit on her in the middle of the interview,
Mhm. I think it was. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
So apparently Brunson didn't say anything stupid, which congratulations, he can talk to women.
yeah, you
Like I
can
don't
go
know
into a
what to tell you.
professional setting and speak to someone who is admittedly beautiful, but also
Yeah,
is a professional that's
right. Yeah,
interviewing you and not just ogle her the whole time.
I
Congrats.
would.
Good job.
I
Like,
if she, I mean, like I don't do interviews, so like if she interviewed me, I wouldn't but I'm not gonna like sit there like drooling like an idiot. Like you
yeah.
just, you answer her questions, and like, yeah, of course there are gonna be people who are like trying to like puff out their chest, but that they would be like that with anybody. It has nothing to do with
Yeah.
Taylor Rooks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Anybody
So,
who's attractive, I mean, not like
but good for Brunson.
yeah.
He's
So
a
proud
good
of him.
he's a family
What
man,
are you doing, Jax? Ask us these ridiculous questions.
Yeah, what a stupid question. No, I'm just kidding.
We love you,
No,
Jax.
it's good. I appreciate that Jalen Brunson is respectful to women
Yeah.
and lets them do their job without being
Well,
objectified.
you know what I want to see is a Josh Hart Taylor Rooks interview.
I just want her to ask him about his breast milk comment
Right, that's what I was thinking.
and then see him
Yeah.
turned into a stammering mess. Not
Right.
because of her, but because
No.
he made his comment about wanting to
Yeah.
drink breast milk or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. I know. That would be. I just like he would say. I really just want to see Josh Hart get interviewed by anybody, not just
Yeah.
Taylor Rooks, because like he's so funny. But,
He is really funny. For all of his flaws as a player, he's a very funny dude.
Which we don't need to get into this. I think like he's getting a lot of unnecessary shit. He's another one that's being like cast in a role that he's not supposed to be in because they have so many injuries.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it is what it is there. Like he shouldn't be playing 40 minutes, and that's
right.
just,
So I'm just
like once
all the
he gets
complaints
back
about
down.
him. I'm not even talking about what you're saying, but like all the complaints about him are just I find so like worthless because he's going to go back to playing 25 minutes a game in a few weeks, and it'll be fine.
Hopefully, and if he doesn't, then it's time to be like,
Hibbs
okay,
is not
yeah,
going to
he's
play him 40 minutes a game. Like he won't have the room.
I don't think he wants to, and I don't think the Hart wants to either.
No, Hart doesn't want to. After every game, he's like, "Please stop playing me so much. I hate it."
Like, please, I want to not play this much. Like,
Yeah.
I want everybody to get healthy again. Blah blah blah. But
yeah.
Anyway, all right, let's move to our next question. This comes to us from Mikey Cooks, who wants to know, I think we all agree that everyone on the Knicks roster is a dog now. So what breed of dog is each player? And Tibbs is definitely a pug. I can see pug or English bulldog for Tibbs. Just one of those jowly, scrunchy face type dogs for sure. But English bulldog has that grumpy demeanor. Let's run down. Do you want to just do this kind of like rapid fire style? Like we'll just do it vibes only.
Yeah, we don't need to take forever doing this. It is a fun question, but like we got other questions.
All right, so vibes only. I'll run through the whole roster, and just give like a brief explanation of why you think.
All right. I mean, I'm not gonna be able to do this like off the top of my head very easily.
I'm not really great with dog breeds.
Yeah, I'm not either.
Donte DiVincenzo.
I don't know. He's a lab because he's good at playing catch, as in like throwing the ball in the basket. I don't fucking know. This is gonna be bad. I'm sorry, Mikey. We're not the people for this.
I'm trying to think. Like he's very stoic. He doesn't speak very much. He gets the job done. I'll go.
Actually, Josh Hart's a lab. What am I talking about?
I'll go for DiVincenzo. I'll say German Shepherd.
Yeah, I like that.
Good
That's
work
fine.
dog. Like just shows up to work, gets his shit done, doesn't speak a ton. Yeah, like he's not a very vocal dude, especially like on the court or especially in interviews. Yeah, so Josh Hart, I'm with you though. I think
lab. He's a lab.
Yeah. Lab or golden retriever, maybe like just
maybe a golden retriever.
Yeah, very like people pleaser.
And he's over. Like he gets too excited.
Yeah, very hyper. Yeah. Brunson's
like a Chihuahua.
I don't like Chihuahua.
Very tiny, but he's like,
Also, Chihuahuas are all bark, no bite most of the time.
That's true. Yeah.
I want a dog that's like small, but also kicks ass.
Like, yeah, but small dogs like are never all bite. That's why they're all bark because they're small.
Like Jack Russell Terrier. Maybe that's Jim Brunson.
Sure.
They're small, but like they will actually bite you.
Okay.
All right, Hartenstein. Let's see. Need another like big strong. I think honestly, like Hartenstein and Mitch are both like Rottweilers.
Yeah.
Or like one could be a Rottweiler, one could be a Pitbull, and then Precious is a Rottie Pitbull mix or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think I was gonna say Pitbull for Julius.
True. All right, they're all kind of that type of dog. Like
all four of them are like the same.
And Taj Gibson is an old Pitbull.
Yeah.
Who's well beyond his years.
While we're in the big man, I think Sims is oh my god. Sims is an Eeyore. I know it's not a dog, but
an Eeyore?
Yeah, so he just looks sad all the time. And
what about like a Saint Bernard? They look sad and they're really.
I really want to make a joke right now, but you'd have to cut it. But you know what joke I'm going to make.
Yeah, I do. Don't make.
Yeah. So I'm just, unfortunately, all the people listening are just going to have to wonder what we're talking about. But I can't make the joke.
It's based off something really inappropriate that we heard a Long Island woman say at a Knicks game.
Yeah.
Which should be repeated because it's not.
It's inappropriate. It shouldn't be repeated, which is why I'm not going to repeat it.
What about Deuce?
Deuce is a poodle.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm good.
His fluffy hair.
I was gonna say the hairstyles, like always getting his hair changed up and stuff. Yeah, I could see it.
Who's left?
Who's left? OG's a big one.
OG's probably like also a German Shepherd, honestly.
Yeah,
In a
he's kind of
different
a
way
German
than
Shepherd too.
Donte, but like they're very similar.
Yeah, so another like service animal type dog. Like
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe we'll say he's an Aussie Shepherd or something.
Yeah.
What's like a British version of like a German Shepherd?
I don't know.
Let me see. British German Shepherd type
Ask
dog.
Jax.
I'm just checking right now. Let's see. Okay, yeah, this is perfect. The Alsatian, the German Shepherd, also
Right.
known in Britain as an Alsatian, is a German breed of working dog of medium to large size. So cool.
Great.
So we'll just call him the British name for German
Yeah.
Shepherd.
Perfect.
Alsatian, if I'm saying that right. Alsatian, maybe? That sounds more British. Anyway. All right. And then Burks and Bogey, I think, are the last two. So Burks
is whatever Tibbs is.
I was gonna say Burks is like the mutt that like keeps coming home.
Yeah.
Like, do you watch Always Sunny, right?
Yeah.
Poppins, like
Oh
Matt's
yeah.
dog, like he's like Poppins.
Yeah.
Like he
Yeah.
just shows back up and it's like, oh
Yeah.
shit, you're still
Yeah.
here? Like, what the fuck is going on? That's sort of Taj too. Taj is also sort of Poppins, so they're both gonna
Yeah,
be
but I don't know about. We just haven't spent enough time with Bogdanovich.
Yeah, we haven't spent enough time with him. I don't know. I'll just say like he's got kind of like the big forehead and
Okay.
like receding hairline. What does that lead me to? Like, I don't know. I'll just call him a Sharpei. That's the first dog.
Great.
You know what? Doesn't really fit because he's not wrinkly, but whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, but he does like Sharpeis have like hairy, like furry ears, right? But then like
No, I think they're just straight up like wrinkly
oh.
fat
What's
roll
the
dogs.
what's the one? Isn't there a dog with like furry ears, but then like not furry anywhere? I don't know.
I think that's like a Dachshund,
Oh, maybe.
maybe. I don't know. We don't know. Yeah,
Whatever.
I think I'm with you. We don't know Boyan well enough for that. We can't dog classify him yet.
Yeah.
All right. Another question from Mikey. Would you like to see the NBA do a stadium series like the NHL? 100% yes. I would love it.
Why not? Yeah.
I think it sounds so fun. Like the question is, where would you do it? I don't know that doing it in like a baseball stadium would necessarily work as well. Although there have been like they've done like the Final Four in like AT&T Stadium, which is where the Cowboys play.
I mean, the All-Star game was in a football stadium. I know it was closed, but like
yeah, they did AT&T Stadium for the All-Star game too. I think.
Yeah.
Jerry World. They did that.
And they
so,
did.
I mean,
for this year it was at the Colts stadium.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
They did Lucas Oil Stadium. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's not unprecedented.
I want to see them do it outside. Like they have that college basketball tournament at the beginning of every year. That's like the
on the aircraft carrier.
That's what
on the aircraft carrier.
On the aircraft carrier, yeah.
Yeah.
Like it would be so cool to watch them play basketball outside.
Yeah, I guess the only thing is like, at what point of the season do you do it? Like, because
you have to do it near the end of the season.
Yeah, you do, but like, I feel like you would want it near the beginning. I guess maybe if you just always did it in a hot weather locale.
You could do it in October.
Yeah,
right at the beginning of the season, and then also in April right at the end. Like
I just think you don't want potentially consequential April games being potentially like fucked up by like wind or whatever.
Do is like the opening night. They wouldn't be able to do as many of the NHL because the NHL players can play in cold weather, but you like wouldn't want NBA players playing in 10-degree weather. So,
well, but you're also considering like they could just make it always southern states too.
Yeah, but then like New York's gonna want it. So you could play you could do opening night at Yankee Stadium or Citi Field.
What if they did the in-season tournament as Stadium Series games?
They could do that, but the problem is in December again you'd have to do it like only in the South, and like the northern cities are going to complain and want it.
Well, no. So like if you did like the quarterfinals and the semifinals and the finals, which they did in Vegas this year in an indoor thing, instead of that, you just pick a neutral site, southern,
and do it outside.
Area,
yeah, you could do that.
Do it outside.
Yeah,
like that would be pretty fucking cool.
Yeah,
do it in like.
I mean, they would just want to do it in Vegas, probably.
They would probably want to do it in Vegas, but also people can't always get what they want, so the NBA can do it in Los Angeles or something. I don't know. Yeah. Like SoFi Stadium, open the roof.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Do an open air game there. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't get quite like the vistas there. I don't. You know where it would honestly be really fucking cool is in like one of those like badass like minor league stadiums for baseball that has like the giant view of like mountains behind it or whatever.
Yeah.
Like where you have like a real like cool vista that you can like look at behind.
Yeah.
Like baseball stadiums are just way better for that, which I think why a lot of those
Yeah.
stadium series games
Are usually in baseball stadiums. Yeah.
because they just look more scenic. Like
Yeah.
baseball stadiums are just like more magical than any
Right.
other stadium.
Yeah.
So I feel like you would want to figure out a way to do it in
I
baseball.
mean,
stadiums.
not City Field. City Field's overlooking fucking airport, but
Yeah, but City Field looks cool, like
inside.
like inside. Yeah. So
Yeah.
like if you're looking around, it just looks cool.
You also can't really see the outside of in City Field. Like
Exactly, which is intentional. They definitely did
Yeah.
not want you to see the
Yeah.
outside of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Interesting ideas. But yeah, I
Yeah,
would
I
definitely
like it. I'm
if they
definitely
could pull it off, I want a stadium series in the NBA.
Yeah.
Outdoor basketball is cool. All right. What teams this another one, or sorry, I almost missed a very important question.
Yeah, seriously. What are you doing?
Another one from Mikey. Arby's, take it or leave it.
I haven't had Arby's in like 20 years, honestly.
I haven't had it in a while either. I will say if they still have their the fuck was it called? Chicken bacon something or other sandwich. It was really good. They used to have the sandwich that's like chicken patty, I think it's Swiss cheese, bacon, and honey mustard, and it slaps. It's really really good. It's because it's like pepper bacon too.
Yeah.
It's really really good.
They
So
put an Arby's in the mall near my parents' house when I was in high school.
yeah,
And so I went there, like I was like, oh, that's so cool, new fast food. So I went there once, and like I literally, that's the only time I've ever had Arby's. I never went again, and I haven't had it since.
I actually you just like awoke like a memory in me that I hadn't thought about in a while either. So I'm definitely team Arby's because I have some really good like childhood memories with Arby's because the mall near my parents' place when I was like a little kid had an Arby's in it. And I used to always like anytime that I would go to the mall with my parents, I'd be like, I want curly fries. And like we'd go there and get curly fries. So yeah. Just curly fries alone, I rock with Arby's. But ironically, I don't think I've ever just had the iconic like roast beef and cheddar with like the gross cheese sauce on it.
Yeah, neither have I. I mean, like I don't remember what I got because it's really the only time I've ever had Arby's.
Yeah, but, I like that chicken sandwich though, and like I think I got I forget what else I got like one time there. There was like when I was working for GameStop for a while too. Every once in a while, I'd have to sub in at the store in Pennsylvania, and there was an Arby's near there, and I would get Arby's there, and I just forget what I used to get. It definitely wasn't the roast beef and cheddar though. I would get like whatever their exotic shit was.
Somewhat embarrassing sandwich shop choices when I was younger was always Subway, which like I haven't had Subway in like 15 years either.
But Subway is gross as an adult, but it slapped as a kid for whatever reason. Like just like the idea of like the cheese
also
bread.
No Jersey Mike's back then. Like Jersey Mike's.
There was no Jersey Mike's. Yeah. There was Quiznos. So, Quiznos was.
There was Quiznos. I did like Quiznos better than Subway, but there wasn't any near me.
Yeah. Dude, I used to. Okay, this is what it's like being like when you're like in college and you're like poor as all fucking hell, but like I was like working at GameStop through college.
Yeah.
And the one that like my main store like in my town that I worked in had like a ShopRite down the end, so like just a grocery store I could go to for food, and then had a Quiznos, and then had like a pizza shop, and what was the other? Oh, then there was a Chinese restaurant, and Quiznos was like my like, oh boy, I'm treating myself today. I'm gonna get a $7 sub from Quiznos.
Oh yeah,
like that is so much money.
Yeah.
And then like my like cheapy thing was like 2 plain slices from the pizza shop was like $3 or whatever. Like
did you ever do like that? What we always did in college was we would just go, you know how Olden Ave had all those fast food places next to each other on it?
Yes.
So did you ever do like we'd try to see how many we could go to in one night and just like get like we would get like one thing from Wendy's, one thing from Taco Bell, one thing from KFC. Like we just wanted to like have as much like weird combinations of shit as we could.
I never did that, but I used to. There was a Popeyes there, which there was never because there was the Popeyes on Olden.
Yeah, but the Popeyes was like off of Olden, wasn't it? It was like around the corner.
You had to go like just down North Olden a little bit or whatever. Like it wasn't like right there.
But that also felt like when you made that turn, it was like this now really feels like the kind of scary part of Trenton. So
I lived like just before that.
Okay.
Like I was across Olden Ave and like in the last little suburb there for my second year.
We should probably explain to all listeners who are like, what the fuck are you guys talking about?
We're talking about
we went to college together, but we didn't know each other.
We didn't know each other in college, even though we went for 2 of the exact same years and graduated the same year.
Yeah.
At a relatively small school, which makes it more hilarious.
It's very weird. Didn't know each other. But maybe I saw your name on the signal one day and didn't even realize. Now that I read it, I picked it up occasionally.
Yeah, yeah, you can't lie because you've already told me that like you used to like never pick up the
No, I didn't
signal.
fucking read it, but like occasionally we would like pick it up, but like I
Would
never
use
read
it
it.
as fucking, to sop up some shit on the ground or
Yeah, or like
whatever.
I
Yeah.
don't know. We like saw who knows. I
The
don't know.
signal was
I
the
never
student
like.
newspaper for
I've
anyone
definitely
wondering.
held the signal before, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah, for anyone wondering, that was the student newspaper that I worked very hard on,
yeah.
redesigned the sports section myself, did a lot of the coverage myself.
Well,
My co-host here
I
used to
was
use it
not a
to
loyal reader.
yeah,
I'm
my
sad to
co-host
say.
here used to piss on it,
Yeah,
it's fucking use it to soak up vomit like Big Daddy.
that's right.
Um anyway, yeah, yeah, in college I mostly just got fat off of uh do you remember that site Campus Food? Did you ever use
Yeah,
that? It was like the predecessor for anyone that
yeah.
again, we're dating
Well,
ourselves,
because they
but
had
this was
that
like
fat sandwich place, right? That was so
yeah.
good. What was that place called?
The Fat Shack. I
The Fat
still
Shack.
remember.
That was so good. I would get the one with it was like chicken, fries, honey mustard, and mozzarella sticks or something like that.
Mhm.
And it was honestly every once in a while I still like crave it, and I just like I'm never gonna buy it because I don't want to die on the spot now that I'm way too old to be eating that. But like
I would still eat it
I would,
today
oh, I
if I
would eat
could.
it, but
I
I would
used to
like
get the one that was
probably
like
have to take the whole bottle of Tums after.
yeah, they used to have one that was like I think it was like cheesesteak, bacon, mozzarella sticks, and something else, and like an egg or
It
something. Like
was
it was disgusting, but it was so
though
good.
I forgot about the cheesesteak. The one I got was actually cheesesteak, mozzarella sticks, chicken, French fries, honey mustard. That was it. It
Yeah, I
was
think I
so
used to
good.
get that one sometimes
It was
too.
so good.
I gained so much weight in college because I just that site was so cheap and they gave away rewards like candy.
Yeah.
So like I would order like 2 nights and then like the 3rd night they'd be like, "You get a free whole meal tonight." I'd be like, "Are you kidding
Are you
me?
fucking
Like, what is this? Like, how do you guys make money?" And then they got bought by Grubhub like really
Yeah.
close to the end of my
Yeah.
time at college and then it was not as good and
Campus I totally forgot about campus food. I mean, I did remember the Fat Shack, obviously, but I forgot about campus
Fat
food. You're
Shack
right.
was so good. Two
That was
Brothers Pizza, if anyone's ever down in Ewing, New
yeah.
Jersey, wants to check out a
Or
good little pizza
oh
shop.
my god, what was the name of the guy? We're way off track here, but then we can move on. What was the name of the fucking guy who delivered the pizzas?
Oh, the guy who just drove around with pizzas in his
Yeah.
car.
With the like terrible pizzas that
Oh, I forget his
what was
name,
his
but you used to be able
name?
to, like, call him too, and you could
Yeah,
be
you
like,
could
"Show up
call
to our
him.
party
We
with
had
them
his
8
number.
pizzas."
We had his number, and you could just call
Yeah.
him, and he would bring pizza to you. What the
Yeah, he
fuck
had,
was
like, the
his name?
shittiest pizza ever from the one
Yeah,
pizza shop. I forget what
but like
shop
you
it is.
ate it at 3 a.m. when you were wasted, so it didn't matter that it was shitty.
It was like a step below 99-cent fresh pizza in New York.
Yeah.
Like, not even the good one, because like, Two Brothers Pizza is the best dollar pizza in New York,
Well,
but, like,
there are a lot of good dollar pizzas in New York, but like this
Two
was like
Brothers is actually good. 99-cent
yeah,
fresh pizza is mid, but it's like it
it's
gets the
fine.
job done
It's
if you
fine.
really need some
Yeah,
pizza. And
it's
that was
fine.
what this guy was like. He would
But
just
this
drive
is
around.
like this pizza was bad,
Yeah.
but it was like Domino's, but honestly worse than Domino's.
No, it was worse than that because it was
Yeah.
the crust was too thin.
Yeah.
Like
What the
it
fuck
was
was
gross.
his name? I want to
I
see if I
forget.
can figure it out.
I actually never like called him or whatever. I was just
You
at
never
parties
called
where
him
he would get
once?
called. Yeah.
You never called him?
No, I never called him. I would have other people call him.
Okay. I don't think I ever directly called him either.
I also like never lived on campus or whatever. So like most of my partying was like I was
Hassan.
just yes. Yeah.
Hassan.
I wonder if he's still doing that.
I don't know. The
Do you
article
still
that
have his
popped
phone
right up
number?
was
Call him up right now. See if he'll bring you a pizza.
yeah, all the way to New York. The
See if he'll
article
bring me
that
one. I'm closer. I'm in New Jersey still.
you're not that honestly, are you closer? You're in like
Yeah.
bumfuck.
I'm like 35, 40 minutes from TCNJ.
Okay, you're closer.
Yeah, I'm not that far.
All right.
All right. Anyway, we've gone so far off track.
Yeah,
All
we
this about
really
Arby's.
Jesus Christ.
All right. Anyway, so I'm gonna jump Mikey's next question just to quickly do this one from David Goodman, who says, "What if the Knicks played against Arby's?" I've got a 1 sentence answer for this I already shared in Discord, but I'm gonna share it anyway. And it's that Arby's would win and the toilets would be the real losers
Yeah.
in this
That's good.
scenario.
That's clever.
Yeah. Is that good?
We can move on.
Okay.
That's good.
All right. Next question. Next serious question comes from Mikey Cooks. Wants to know what teams would you like to see the Knicks face in the playoffs?
Pacers. I want to beat their asses.
That'd be fun, and they would. The Pacers.
Oh, they would. Like it's so
Pissed off.
because the Pacers keep facing the Knicks when they're like crippled.
And the Knicks still were beating them. They still
Yeah,
beat
well, they lost finally this last time, but the Knicks had like 3 players available. That
right, but they beat them the game before
yeah.
that.
They
in
did the game
dramatic
before with
fashion.
like half their team missing. Yeah,
Yeah.
because that was the game right after the trade for Brooks and Bogdanovich, right?
Yeah. I was at that game too, though.
Oh,
It
you
was
were?
not super fun. Yeah.
They would. I honestly think they would sweep the Pacers if they were at full health.
I think there's a good chance, or it would just be like a gentleman's sweep. Like
Yeah, maybe it would be 5, but
Mhm.
I want to see them face the Magic because I'm sick of the Magic beating them, and they're obviously better than the Magic.
Yeah, I want them to face the Magic too, just because they're not playoff tested yet. So that's
But
an easy
the Knicks are
matchup.
like obviously way better than they are. It's just the Magic keep getting like really hot when they play the Knicks, and the Knicks again keep having to face them with like except for they played them the one time, but they hadn't lost a game in like 3 weeks when they lost that game to them.
Yeah.
So like they just had a bad shooting night, and then this last time they again were like 10 men down.
Honestly, I want the Cavs again. I want to put them
The
in
Cat, they're so much better this year that I'm like a little worried. But
no, they're not.
I think the Cavs would probably get scared if they had to face the Knicks.
I think the Cavs would probably poop their pants.
I mean, I like actually think they gave some that Jared Allen quote last year. Like they gave some pretty depressing quotes about how badly they got beat.
Yeah,
I think
honestly,
they don't
the current matchup that the Knicks have right now, Sixers, I would take that.
Oh, for sure, especially if there's no Embiid.
Yeah, if there's no Embiid, sweet. I would love to run into them around one.
I don't want to face the Heat. Honestly, I really don't.
The Heat just annoy me.
I just don't. I emotionally do not want to deal with it because if the Knicks somehow lose that series, I can't deal with it. I don't want to face the Heat.
I want the Hawks to win their way in through the play-in, and the Knicks to get to.
Knicks Hawks would be so fun if that would be like the Knicks would sweep them and they win by like 40 points every night. It would be
that would be so cathartic.
Trae Young would probably like actually cry.
Yeah, and then demand to get traded to the Lakers or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. He wants to go to the Spurs, apparently, which is
either way. I think we're kind of just coming to the conclusion. Just don't want to run into the Celtics.
Don't want to play the Celtics.
Even the Bucks, I'm fine.
I'm fine with the Bucks.
I think they could lock them down.
They've got one more game against the Bucks left this year, next month, and assuming they're at close to full health for that game, like Mitch probably won't be back, but Randall might be. They will. I will be surprised if they don't beat them. I think the Knicks.
The Bucks have maybe
the current Knicks are worst. Not a good matchup for the Bucks.
Yeah, the Bucks have maybe one of the worst employed coaches in the NBA right now.
Yeah, like, he's so bad.
He's so bad. Well, like Doc Rivers, the game has fully passed him by.
I know that like Tibbs, obviously one of his faults is he does not adapt quickly enough, and that's a problem in the playoffs. But Rivers is worse at that than Tibbs.
100 times worse.
And that's the other thing about Knicks Cavs, by the way, is like I mean I do think the Cavs are a lot better this year, but like Bickerstaff is not suddenly better.
Yeah. Exactly.
And Tibbs coached circles around him last playoffs.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really just I would be okay with facing anybody in the Eastern Conference except for the Celtics and the Heat, not because of team quality, just because they're the Heat. And I don't want to face them.
Yeah, the Heat just scare me just because they're the Heat. All right, so our next question comes from Jax365 again, who wants to know Jaylen Brown's dunk contest performance was the worst in recent history. What dunk was the worst in your opinion?
It was the one that led to that hilarious clip of him completely whiffing on the pass from Jason Tatum.
Yeah, that was so funny.
It's
just like him, just like
I'm just it like actually makes me crack up. Imagining him just flying into the screen and completely missing the ball. It's so funny.
And then like, I don't know. It's almost even tough for me to say that was the worst one though, which is crazy because that one at least it was like. Oh, at least you're a little bit ambitious by jumping over someone and
the first one was really boring.
I'm thinking the Michael Jackson glove one, where he just randomly throws on a Michael Jackson glove and then is like, "Look, guys, I can dunk with my left hand. I can go left." Like, it's so bad.
This is what I want to say about the dunk contest earlier, just quickly, is like that. Like you were saying, like they're not going to stars don't want to be in it. Well, look what happened when they did put a star in it. Like the judges just like put him through the finals for literally no reason, just because he was Jaylen Brown.
Well, they did it because I'm pretty sure the NBA told them put him in the final because he's the only All-Star that's done this in the last.
Probably, yeah, probably.
And then he didn't bring his A game because he probably knew he was just getting through.
Yeah, maybe, but like it's just annoying because Jacob Toppin was so much better than him. And
dude, his Jacob Toppin's fucking dunk where he like took off from pretty far away and then did a 360 through the legs
that was
for
so
the dunk
cool.
with like switching hands throughout it, like crazy.
I know Kenny's an idiot, but he did say, and I think he was right, that he thinks the judges didn't see it.
Yeah.
Because
Or
he did it
something.
like the way he did it was facing away from them. And
Yeah.
so he was saying he thinks they didn't see it, and that's why I didn't get a 50. And I think he's probably right about that because, like, how do you not give that a 50? It was insane.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they should let MBAI judge it next year.
Yeah.
Maybe that would work
Doing
out.
like an analysis of, like,
Yeah, a
how much
quick
they
chat
spun. And,
GPT analysis and then a
yeah.
score. It can run it against 5 AI judges
Right.
in
Yeah.
the algorithm or whatever. I don't know. They'd certainly be better than the fucking trash bags that they had judging it this year.
But no, you're probably right that the NBA told them Jalen Brunson had to go to the finals. Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah. Anyway, I guess the real answer is all of his dunks were terrible. But
They
I
were
I
good.
I think
Yeah.
I agree with you. The one where he was trying to jump over, because also even just the idea of like, I'm going to jump over a seated Kai Cenat, like not even that
Yeah,
far
he was
from
sitting.
the hoop, just because like it's Kai Cenat and that'll like get me like brownie points or whatever with all the Gen Z kids and shit. And then everybody booed him out of the building anyway. It was hilarious. The fucking uh uh interview with Ali LaForce before the final, where she was trying to like spin it and be like, they were
Yeah.
booing at something totally unrelated.
Yeah.
What kind of stuff do you have
Yeah.
to show them in the final round? And he's like, I don't know, I'll do some stuff. It's like, okay, thanks, Jalen, you're the man. All right. Anyway, so let's move to our next question. Enough talking about Celtics. Franklin Chubb wants to know, how do you think the remainder of the season is going to go for the Knicks? And are you quietly soiling yourself about all the injuries?
To answer the second question, no.
Yeah,
I am not quietly
I'm not
soiling
worried about the
myself
injuries at
about
all, to be completely honest.
Yeah. And here's a message to all our Discord people. A lot of you are freaking out about the injuries in every game chat. Chill out. Everyone's gonna be back for the playoffs. It'll be fine. I promise. It would be a bummer if the Knicks were the 5 or 6 seed instead of the 2, 3, or 4 because of these injuries, but there is nothing we can do about it. Like, they're gonna still be in the playoffs. There is zero chance they're missing it. They're winning enough games without all these guys to make the playoffs still. They're going to have Hartenstein and Donte and Bogdanovic back on Thursday. And then OG and Randall will be back soon. Mitch, hopefully not too far behind them. It's fine. They'll be okay. I think depending on when OG and Randall come back, they'll probably, how many games they have left?
20.
20. No, 31.
Is it 31?
No, I'm wrong. Hold on. They're 33 and 22, right? So they have 27 left.
Yeah, I thought they had like 27, 28.
Yeah, 27 because they're 33 and 22. So they have 27 left. I think 26 and 21 probably not unreasonable, something like that. Sorry,
Wait.
16 and 11. I 16 and 11. My bad.
Yeah, I can see that. Here's my hot
49
take.
and 33. That's.
Yeah.
I'd be annoyed if they were one short of 50, but 5 games
Whatever.
over 500 with the guys they have out still, I think it's totally fine.
I think that's fine too. Here's my hot take. I think every Knick player is back from their injuries by March 8th. Magic at Knicks.
No.
I think every player's back.
Mitch?
Yep.
No way. I don't even think Randall's
I think he's a lot closer than people think.
I don't even think Randall's back by March 8th.
No, you're definitely wrong.
Dude,
okay,
March 8th is in 2 weeks.
We're recording this Monday night. By the time this comes out on Tuesday, no, a little after this comes out, I think this is coming out Tuesday. Maybe this comes out Wednesday.
We'll see.
We're getting a little late at night, so hopefully I can produce this to get it up tomorrow morning. I think by the time that this is out, roughly, we'll already know that Randall is coming back the first game after the All-Star break.
You think he's coming back on Thursday?
Yep.
There's zero chance. That's crazy.
That is 3 weeks on the day from when they said 2 to 3 weeks he would get reevaluated. We're hearing, and that was so that's 3.5 weeks since the injury, because we didn't get that update.
He's going to get reevaluated before Thursday, but
I think it's happening.
No way.
I think the first practice back, they're going to be like, Randall's coming back.
With me and have heard this, I don't believe you.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I don't know. That's my hot take.
I think he's not. I would say about another month. Honestly,
I think he will. No, I think he's going to be back Thursday, and I think OG is going to be back a week later.
I don't know. I'm targeting. I think they will both be back I'm much more conservative about this. I think they'll both be back March 15th, and Mitch will be back April 1st. That's what I'm targeting.
Well, April Fools to you, motherfucker. That's not going to happen.
Well, I mean, if Mitch is back before April 1st, he'll also be playing on April 1st. So I don't think that will be April Fools.
Yeah. All right.
Look, I hope you're right. Obviously, I just don't. I don't see it.
I don't know. We'll see. I guess there's only one way to tell, and that's to wait it out. But yeah, I think the rest of the season is going to go fine. They're going to make the playoffs. They're going to probably get out of the first round again, and then
Yeah,
we'll
I don't
see
think it
how
matters
things
if
go.
they have home court. Like they're
They're a great road team. They're designed
yeah.
to
I
be
know
a
they've
great
been
road
500, but they started off so badly on the road, and they've been really good since then.
team. Yeah, and we saw in the playoffs last year they're a great road team.
Yeah, and also
So.
in the playoffs, you only need to win one road game. If
Mhm.
if you don't have home court advantage, you just have to win one road game.
And they're a phenomenal home court team.
Yeah, they're a great home team. Yeah.
So, all right. Next question also comes from Franklin Chubb, who wants to know: do you think Stephen A. Smith goes home at night thinking he's done a good job? 100%.
Yeah, of course he does.
Are you
Yeah.
kidding me?
I don't think he believes a lot of the shit he says, but I think he thinks he does a good job.
Yep, that's exactly the right answer. I don't know that we even need to elaborate more on that. Like he's definitely narcissistic
But
enough to.
frankly, I also think he does a good job.
Oh, I think he does too. He stirs shit.
Yeah,
He's a
like
shit stirrer.
his job is to do what he does, and he does it really well. Like,
And honestly, I give him props. Like on his own show now, branching out into doing like the comedy bits.
yeah,
They're pretty funny. Like I see the shit come up with him being like, people will be like, "What do you think of these 3 Pokemon?" And he's like, "You know, Charizard. Look at him. He's got the flames. I kind of like him. I think he's got fire and he can fly." And he's like, and Blastoise, he looks all right, but I don't know about him. Whatever. Like he's going.
speaking of Pokemon, you pulled me away from my my hardcore Nuzlocke of that game I was talking about the other day to record
Oh my
this.
god! God forbid I break up your like 100th Nuzlocke that you're doing.
You know what? I'm about to face Watson, third gym leader. It's pretty big.
I
Pretty
bet.
big. I've got
I
a
bet.
strategy.
Well, we'll just keep moving here then, so that way you can get back to that. All right. Our next question comes from Jax365 again, who wants to know: have you seen Madam Web? And if not, will you see it? You
I
can.
have not. I will. I'll watch it just to laugh at it on video on demand eventually. Or I was telling you before we were recording, maybe one day if I'm really, really bored, I will just go see it. I have AMC A-list, so I pay $25 a month and I can see movies for free. I mean, I obviously pay $25 a month, but like the tickets are a lot less expensive that way because if I see 3 movies in a month, they're $8 tickets versus $20 tickets. So I might randomly see it at some point if I'm really bored one day, but I'm not. Probably not.
I'm probably going out of my way to see it this weekend because I'm gonna go with my one friend, I think, and maybe a small group of people, and hopefully get into an empty theater and just get to like Mystery Science Theater 3000 it.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I want to see it. It looks terrible.
You
But
guys gotta go either like to the last showing of the night
yeah,
or first showing of the day. Like that's the
yeah, it would
otherwise
probably be like a matinee would be my guess. Like I think
there are
like
gonna be
Sunday
people
matinee.
there if you go in the middle of the day.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Either way, if there's people there, none of them are going to be taking it seriously either. And if they are, then I'll just inform them that they're wrong and dangerous. Um. Anyway, all right. Yeah. So, Madam Web, gonna see it just because sometimes a movie is that bad that I want to go see it.
Yeah.
It would be more of a problem if it was like mid and not that
Yeah,
good,
right.
but like not bad enough that it's hilarious.
I went to see Argyle this weekend.
Yeah,
which was so stupid.
but like good stupid.
Oh well, I'm not sure. It was like I don't know if it got all the way to good stupid
Okay.
because it wasn't intentionally like Madam Web. It was not intentionally stupid. It was intentionally a little stupid because it's like Kingsman. You know how Kingsman is, but yeah, God, people were laughing at things that were not supposed to be laughed at. It was pretty funny.
I did kind of want to see that movie. So
I mean, again, it was like technically free for me, but I would if you want to like just watch a dumb movie for 2 hours, it's not the worst thing you do. It's not good though.
I'll check it out at some point.
A lot of really ridiculous twists.
All right, I like that, and I'm good with that. All right, next question comes from our own James Marcita, our beloved Jerry Garcia, who wants to know if you had to get a Knicks tattoo, what would it be and why?
I'm gonna be a fuddy duddy here. I will never ever get a tattoo, and like I can't even fathom what I would.
I just got my first one, so I've entertained the idea. It would take like a Knicks championship win, I think, for me to get something. It would probably be something small. Probably be like a Larry O'Brien trophy with like a Knicks jersey around it or something like that. Maybe like Brunson, if it's Brunson that was like the MVP or whatever.
Get a giant Jalen Brunson on your back.
I'll just get Brunson's entire jersey tattooed on my back.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah,
and then the Sphere logo tattooed right over my
yeah,
heart where it belongs.
yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I don't know. That would probably I might very well now that I've like kind of like opened the gates to tattooing myself. I will probably get some more, and if the Knicks win a championship, I will almost definitely get something to commemorate that because that would be pretty cool. I would do the same for the Mets. I don't know if I love the Jets.
I feel like the Jets, you wouldn't do it. Yeah.
No, Mets or Knicks though for sure. I would get commemorative tattoos. I think. Probably on my leg or something. I don't know. Like not anywhere. Like upper body is a little more sacred than that, but maybe like my calf or something.
You could get like a lower back, little TS.
Yeah, my little. Oh my God! Wait, you get a tramp stamp, and it's all just like a lineup of the trophies that your teams have won.
That would be really funny.
That would be pretty funny.
Yeah.
All right, that's an idea. I'll consider it. Take it under consideration.
All right, great. Yeah.
All right. Franklin Chubb wants to know if you were in charge of designing a new state-of-the-art arena for the Knicks, what features would you include?
I got to be honest,
dude, I freaking love MSG.
It's great. Yeah, it's great as is. I don't have any problems with it.
Hot take, maybe to some, I fucking love the bridge too. One of the greatest innovations
the bridge is amazing
in modern stadiumness.
I think it's James that always complains about the bridge, but like
James hates the bridge. I think I've heard other people say they're not fond of it.
I think it's amazing. I sat there for a playoff game last year. It was so cool.
Dude, when they first opened it, like that first year, I think everybody got scared off because it was technically like 300 level seats.
Yeah.
So like everybody's like, I don't want to sit up in the nosebleeds.
Yeah.
So they were like, and that was when the Knicks were really bad. That was like Porzingis' first year, if I remember right. And they were like giving seats away on the bridge. Like it was like $40 on Groupon.
If you're not gonna be sitting like where we sat, then I honestly think the bridge is the best option.
Oh, I love the bridge. Dude, it's cool, man. It gives you
You're looking right down at the game. There's nothing in your way.
It's like awesome. Watching a live like playboard, like a live like chalkboard or
it's like you got the all 22 in football.
Yeah, it's crazy. I love it. I love the bridge seats. And MSG in general, since they did all the renovations, is very state of the art. Like I love all the decorations everywhere, all the like big neon signs and shit. Like they've upped their food game. I think they're starting to steal a lot of inspiration from Citi Field now, and they've got a lot of the same vendors there. Yeah, I don't know. I like what else could you do? Like it's I don't know.
I don't think basketball arenas get too crazy because they're not.
The Knicks have the crazy basketball arena. Like that's the thing. You go to any other basketball arena and it feels like that has no character.
Yeah.
Compared to MSG.
You just can't. It's not easy to do for an indoor, like baseball stadiums can do it because they're outdoors. So like there's like you can do a lot more fun things with it. But like you just can't do that much with an indoor stadium.
And you can't even like I would say that it would be kind of neat maybe if like you could have like a skylight that you could open from time to time, but like natural light would just fuck up basketball. Like it's a dark room precision lit sport.
Yeah.
That guys are
and also like
a certain way.
If the game's at night, well, you're not gonna what's the point?
Yeah, exactly. And most of the games
game and then you're just you're gonna have weird glare and like fuck up the players like that.
Yeah, exactly. So other than stadium series, there should not be any open air daylight games. Yeah, man, I don't know. That's so boring, but like I literally would not change a thing. It's like I wouldn't change if someone asked me like what would you do to change like the Mets stadium? I'd be like nothing. I
wouldn't touch Citi Field. I would have touched it when it first opened, but now that they fixed it, I would not touch it.
Yeah, I'm literally like this is the best like to me because my favorite team plays here, but also because it's awesome. This is like the best experience I could possibly plan out. Like to go see a baseball.
The thing is, like with Citi Field, there's big open area. Like there's big open areas to stand. The food's amazing. The drinks are good. Like what do you want? Like I don't need anything wacky. I'm going to watch a baseball game or a basketball.
Well, and like what's nice there too, though, is like if the Mets like suck that day, you can just go and like screw around. Sure. Like just go like have some beers and watch TV.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like and just enjoy the weather. You know, whatever. Like it's great. I freaking love Citi Field. Yeah, Citi Field and MSG, I wouldn't change a thing.
Yankee Stadium sucks.
Yankee Stadium is terrible. Barclays is terrible.
Yeah.
Like that's the comparison point. And like honestly, if I were a Nets fan, I'd be like, give me a more personal experience in my stadium. This feels like a corporate
Yeah.
ticket grab
And
bullshit.
so does Yankee Stadium.
So does Yankee Stadium. It's just made to sell season ticket plans to
Yeah.
fucking corporations. Like, it's not made for fans.
MetLife stinks too.
MetLife is terrible.
MetLife
MetLife is
is
horrible.
yeah.
Actually, that honestly is probably part of why I don't really fuck with the Jets as much as I like the
because you don't
team,
want to go
because
see
I
them.
hate the live
Yeah.
experience. Like,
Yeah. I don't like watching football in person in general, honestly, but MetLife is terrible.
yeah, I never go out of my, like, the only time I go to MetLife generally is if I get like free tickets. Like,
I like basketball. I love watching in person, and baseball. I love watching in person. Football, even if MetLife was good, football's a couch sport. I want to be on the
yeah,
couch.
I think so too, because I like having like the option to have Red Zone on a
Yeah,
little
exactly.
screen
Yeah,
and
red
stuff
zone.
too.
You want to just
Yeah.
like hang and like be comfortable. Like it's always cold because it's outside. Like I don't.
Yeah.
It's not appealing to me.
And it's cold and like, but not just cold, but like
I
you
sound
end
like
up,
Larry David right now, but
yeah. But if you're at MetLife, you always end up like, unless you're like super fucking rich, you always end up in like the nosebleeds too.
right. Yeah.
And then it's just a pure fucking wind tunnel up there,
Yeah.
and then you just freeze your ass off the entire game. And it's like, why did I subject myself to this? Like, it is bone chillingly cold, and I'm so high up in the air right now. Like, I don't like this at all. Yeah, it's no fun. Anyway, all right, let's move to our next question now that we've established that our teams have the best stadiums ever, except for the football.
Except for the Giants and Jets.
All right. We just had a lot of other Arby's
Yeah,
talk.
there's one more.
I love Arby's from Rusty Spoon. Tibbs is shaking his hands at the thought of this, with the Knicks playing against Arby's from Mikey. But then our final question comes from Jax365, who wants to know, was Adam Silver right to be angry after the All-Star weekend? Yes. Right?
I mean, sure.
I mean, he was clearly like, did you see his speech at the
I
end of the
did.
game?
Yeah, where
was
he was
so
like,
funny.
congratulations, you scored more points. Yeah.
Yeah, congrats, East. You scored more points.
Yeah.
And then, like, much delayed, was like, than anyone ever
Yeah. Yeah.
in the NBA.
Yeah.
And it was not fun. And the crowd booed you a lot. Like, the crowd booed more. I don't, okay. Indianapolis, if God forbid the Strickland has any fans in Indianapolis, I went there like just as a halfway point driving out to my dad's like
Hey,
last year.
Josh Hart already said it. You can say it.
Yeah, you can skip going to Indianapolis any time in your life. It is a shitty city. Like,
That
it
was
is.
so funny when Josh Hart was like, I only go there because they have he was like, what do they have that he was like, oh well, at least they have a whatever.
I thought he just said, I only go there if I'm playing the Pacers.
Yeah, but no,
And
he said, but at least they have like a something. Like
oh, I don't know. I didn't catch that part. I
I
missed
don't
that
remember.
part.
It was just like a fast food chain though. It was really funny.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you like congratulations? Like of course they have that. They have that everywhere.
No, I just go there because they have Chipotle. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
That would be Zach.
I mean,
Zach.
that would be Zach. Yeah, I almost had Chipotle for dinner tonight in honor of Zach, but
Yeah,
I decided to get Kava instead. Which I love Kava. Have you ever had?
Kava's really good too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so good.
I made homemade food like a jag off.
I was going to, but then I noticed that the zucchini in my HelloFresh was no free ads was not ripe. So it was a good excuse to not cook. I could have just gotten a new zucchini from Whole Foods, no free ads, but I instead just was like, this is a good excuse to not cook. So I'm always looking for any reason to not cook.
This has turned into a great dinner segment about the All-Star game. Yeah, I don't know. Adam Silver was, of course, right to be mad. I mean, the All-Star weekend just kind of sucked in general.
But also, he can fix it. Like, he's the one who can fix it.
I think the worst thing, though, was not necessarily just the gameplay, but it was more just that one of the faces of NBA coverage for the last, like, 20 years spent an entire night making a giant ass out of himself in the product in Kenny Smith.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it wasn't just the Sabrina comments and like how fucking overtly sexist he was, but like he also just seemed to just want to shit on everyone and everything.
Yeah.
And it was like, take his mic away at a certain point. Like, I don't know. And also just like the alt cast last night or whatever, I kept seeing clips of, and I'm like, what is going on between like Draymond Green and like Chuck Barkley? Like, it's really funny, I guess, but like, I don't know. They just gave off almost too unserious of vibes, where you're just like,
I didn't watch it. I didn't watch either of them, so I don't really know.
I don't know. It's just like, guys, what are you doing at this point?
I think well, not necessarily unfortunately, but like, whatever. The fact is that I think Kenny, Chuck, Shaq, Ernie, like they're getting too old. They probably, I know Shaq is younger than those guys, but like they They might have to replace the inside the NBA people.
Honestly, I think just Kenny Smith.
Maybe just Kenny, but like the point is, like at some point you get too old, you know, like you have to recognize that.
I think it's passed him by. I mean, Chuck and Shaq, like I think for all generations are still funny to listen to, like banter.
Yeah.
And Ernie is like, I mean, whatever. Like he's the guy that the straw that stirs the drink. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's good, but like Kenny, yeah, he's just, I don't know. I hate to pile on, but like, you know, he's like what Knicks fans, you know, see every time that Candace Parker opens her mouth lately about the Knicks. He's just like that with like every player in every team, where it's just like everything that he says, you're just like, you're just blatantly wrong. And it seems like you don't even watch games anymore. Like I truly don't know what the fuck you're watching at this point. Like if this is your takeaway. And it's rough to have someone like that be like one of the faces of the league on the channel that has been like the NBA channel forever. So I don't know. But yeah, Adam Silver hopefully has some ideas to change things up a little bit. Anywho, all right. I think this ends this episode of Knicks Mail.bag. We went hour and a half with no Zach. Impressive. But we got a lot of questions. Thanks everybody that asked questions.
We did have a lot of questions. I mean, if Zach were here, it would have been 2.5 hours. So we get to at least
probably
go to bed at a normal time.
He definitely would have pulled some I agrees though. He would
have, and he also would have been whining about how, like, I guarantee about a half hour ago, we would have gotten a message like, guys, I gotta go to bed.
Guys, I gotta go to bed. I gotta wake up so early. And then he would have like obviously been not paying attention for a few minutes and then just been like, yeah, I agree. Anyway. All right. Yeah.
I do miss when Zach isn't here. I can normally when you and Zach are talking, I can look at my phone because like I don't need to be paying attention.
Yeah.
So I kind of like have to pay full attention when it's just me and you, which
it's stay engaged. I know it's tough staying engaged to me. For
unbelievable. How could I actually be expected to pay attention during the podcast I'm recording? That's not really fair.
I know it's tough. It's really tough, man. It's tough being engaged.
It is.
Anyway, this has been Knicks Mailbag episode 92.
Yes, 92.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll be back in roughly 2 weeks to do this again. And take your
maybe
question.
According to Alex, Randall and OG will be back. So that'll be exciting.
OG will be just about to come back, I think, by the time that.
No, in 2 weeks, OG will be back according to your timeline.
If he comes back, I guess he would Thursday, be. Yeah, that's true. A week from Thursday or whatever the next game is after that. Yeah. So we'll be on our way to a fully.
We'll just be back. Yeah.
We'll be on our way to a fully healthy Knicks team by then. Hopefully. Anyway, thank you all for listening, and we'll talk to y'all soon. Peace.